the set. Mark it. Action.
Hi, hello. My name is Erika Macias, and I'm the COO and co-founder of High Tech Lending Inc. And I have the distinct pleasure of being here today. And although I would have loved to have been in a beautiful fancy hotel ballroom with all of you, I'm just as excited to be able to do this via our new normal. Before I begin, I'd like to start off by saying just how thankful I am to Jerry and Molly for this opportunity to collaborate with such amazing women. Quite frankly, when they asked me to be a 20-minute mentor, I thought to myself, wow, what an honor. I've had the pleasure of taking away so much wisdom from these talented ladies that I thought, how can I help? How can I add value to this amazing platform? What in my life can serve as a purpose to help other businesswomen? So when Jerry asked me to speak about what advice I would give to my younger self, I had so many thoughts, so many ideas. Where would I start? I mean, life throws so many different situations at us that given the wisdom, we would all certainly do things differently. So as I began to reflect on my life's lessons, and there are many, I thought, what about me would be the most relatable, beneficial, or simply just the most noteworthy? And while I was pondering the multiple ideas that came to my mind, there was one topic that I knew had already instantly popped into mind when Jerry brought up the subject. Delegate. Learn to delegate. Learn to delegate better. Learn it again until it becomes second nature. You see, I suffer from this very rare woman trait called control freak-itis. Maybe some of you have heard of it, or quite possibly possess this very rare trait yourselves. You know, the one where the side effects include the old, I'll do it myself. Not letting go until other fires are brewing. No one does it like I do. It's not getting done fast enough. I don't have time to delegate, let alone train someone else. Or my personal favorite, honey, that is not how you load the dishwasher. There are so many reasons why delegating is hard. Let me say that again. There are so many reasons why delegating is hard. So how would I explain this to my younger self? Or is there a magic pill I can take that would let me delegate beautifully without any hiccups? Well, no, there absolutely isn't. Because if there was, we'd all be Wonder Woman. So how would my younger self implement this? Because my younger self was consumed with production goals, production efficiencies, production versus profitability, production forecasting, production versus priority projects. See where I'm going with this? Production, production, production. It consumes you. Well, my advice to my younger self, who was a little more willing to work the tougher hours, is this. Go on vacation.
Mommy.
You want to go on vacation?
Mommy. Can we play now? Can we play campsite, please?
Okay.
Let's take another take. All right, slate it again, please. Slate it.
It's amazing how much you delegate when you're getting ready to go on vacation, right? I mean, while it is true, and true that we get great productivity from our employees leading up to their vacation, it's just not that simple. So how do we delegate? How do we get ourselves out of the daily production activities, train our replacements, stay ahead of the curve, break barriers, and keep our sanity? Well, my Erika 2.0 pearls of wisdom to my younger self would be these top 5. Number 1, and I wish I really could have learned this better a long time ago. Make delegating a rule. You know, delegate proactively, but like actually making action items to force yourself to delegate proactively. Put it on your calendar. It's always a great time to start that succession planning. It's really, really key to actually making it happen. Don't wait until you're overwhelmed. And if you can't avoid that, don't rush to the training with your successor, because it's a sure way to set someone else up to fail, including yourself. Practice delegation until it's not foreign, even if it's not permanent. Get well acquainted with it. It definitely can't hurt to delegate even the smallest of projects. Now, this next one is a tough one, trust me. I know. It's the #1 side effect of the control freak-itis syndrome. Reverse delegation. What does that mean? Well, let's just start by saying, do your best to stay away from this reverse delegation thing. What it means is Get over the "I'll do it myself" syndrome. Resist that urge to take over situations when they start to go south. Give them feedback or guidance, but don't fix it for them, because then you've reversed the delegation. This is a great opportunity to teach them how to resolve issues without you. Yes, I said it, without you. We all tend to get in trouble with this one because it can take a lot of time, and you tend to feel that you need to be involved in order to get things to go smoother. But that's usually just not true. So keep the communication open. Even if it's via DMs or text, sometimes just being in the background helps your team make better decisions on their own. Number 3, and what I believe to be the backbone of delegation, trust. Trust who you're delegating to, which means delegate authority. If you delegate authority, you grow leaders. If you only delegate tasks, you get good employees, but is that enough to grow your strong leadership? I mean, this is right up there with that saying. Why take a no from someone who isn't authorized to say yes in the first place, right? Authority is key. Know their strengths and know where they're stronger than you and build that up. For example, I work with some very, very talented women by my side every day. But if I were to ask them to get up and speak in front of an audience, they would run so fast you would think Nordstrom was having a buy one get 10 free sale. And I'm not even exaggerating. You don't just have to know their strengths, but also know where they're not as strong and provide them with more training and resources. Just don't set them up to fail if you know certain tasks are really not their strong points. Then teach them to find and train their backup as soon as humanly possible. And I know, but you just delegated and now you have to teach them to delegate as well? Yes, otherwise you end up with bottlenecks in certain areas, and 9 out of 10 times, this will get you pulled right back into reverse delegation, and it can be a vicious cycle. Number 4, ensure accountability. Make sure they know they're accountable for specific delegated tasks or roles, and then give them recognition when it's time for accomplishments. Let them be the hero. This goes a long way in growing your successors and overall team morale. Not only does it create great camaraderie, but it strengthens them as a whole team. Be sure to go over your entire team's strengths and weaknesses with your successor or with the team. They should absolutely be aware of each member's different skills and shortcomings so that delegating caters to each of their strengths. No one will ever agree they're accountable if they're always feeling like they're not meeting their goals. And we're more likely to retain our successors or top managers by empowering and developing their skills. So it's a win-win. This next part of ensuring accountability is particularly applicable to today's environment. Ensure your managers are accountable for their remote employees. You see, this is part of our new normal. So whether it be you or your managers, many feel it's harder to manage remote employees. So delegating to them may be a bigger challenge than you think. And this is before COVID, when most of their training was and job descriptions were already written as remote. Set a new measure for different types of remote employees. That can surely help everybody involved. And finally, number 5, establish clear expectations. I've definitely learned that what you think may be quite clear may not be to them. Once the expectation is clear, enforce action items to have follow through. Don't just let the communication or pending or completed action items just stop. Everyone loves to feel accomplished. Recognize that and celebrate accomplishments. And part of setting that clear expectation includes the shift from doing to leading. I know we would all like to think that that's implied when delegating, but that's the hardest step, is letting go. Delegating can be a scary thing sometimes, but that's why we have to be clear not only with ourselves, but with our successors. Otherwise, we're always so busy doing that we jeopardize leading. So those are definitely my top 5 picks. But do I follow every single one of these all the time? No, guilty. I still have some of those known side effects I talked about earlier, particularly the dishwasher one. So if I could go back in time, I would absolutely make delegating a rule a constant on my calendar and really resist the urge of reverse delegation. Because as we are all aware, our industry's funny little sense of humor tends to throw so many curveballs our way, and I could have really used some of this wisdom when I was raising my company through its infancy stages. I mean, technically they all still apply today, but I would certainly go back and shake myself to ensure I didn't just know this, but actually implemented it when I was super busy. We've all learned lessons the hard way. like what the effects of not delegating proactively or even reverse delegation can do to your company's growth, or just as important, your own personal growth. Now, to quickly throw myself my own little curveball with this whole how would I tell my younger self to delegate better, especially because I know my younger self would have rebutted some of what I know now. I would also tell myself that delegating can be fickle. I mean, I've been so consumed in the past with production that I became complacent with delegating individuals in key positions that weren't always the best choice for the company. So how does this top 5 picks then work effectively, right? You delegate in one department only to have it rear its ugly little head in another? Well, see, that's just it. Had I proactively delegated production projects, I could have had better communication with other departments and avoided certain situations that can even cause you or your company monetary risk, reputational risk, or more. And that's why it's super important that we intentionally delegate. And I know what you're thinking. It's easier said than done, right? Hands down, absolutely no doubt about it. But it can become part of your management style, and it can improve the entire team's strategy. It's been proven. So don't just delegate those tasks, delegate authority. Poor delegating serves no one well, absolutely no one. Be sure to develop your management's delegation skills and schedule it. It won't happen if you don't set it into action. Now it's up to me, you, and us to keep doing it. So in closing, I leave you with this. If you don't manage things, things will manage to manage you. Which means we lose out on that beautiful thing called work-life balance that we all strive for. Again, I thank you for having me and for allowing me to be part of this very, very impactful Women's Summit.